I have tried actually to expose even the larynx of this cat. So here, right now, there, this structure. Do you want me to go into the larynx?
Yeah.
Alright, so if this is your larynx and if you cut into it, I'll take a piece off the larynx. So I'm cutting into the larynx. Alright, so right there is the larynx. Do you see that? So it will go up into the nasal cavity and down in the trachea. So this tube right there is the trachea. See, I'm in the trachea now. So trachea has these C-shaped cartilages right there in front and on the sides, but it lacks those cartilages on the posterior surface. Anteriorly you have trachea and posteriorly you will have the esophagus right there. Like that. So if you this organ right there is the esophagus. Trachea anteriorly, esophagus posteriorly. Alright, if you will, since I've dissected all of it, you can see that the esophagus right there. Maybe if you record it from that angle. So there you can see is the esophagus. See that? So the esophagus going all the way down there, all the way down, and it penetrates the diaphragm. Alright, this is now your thoracic cavity. So when you look into the thoracic cavity, there are the lungs. The thymus has been removed, which was sitting right here anteriorly over the heart. So when you remove the thymus, under that you will find the superior vena cava. The superior vena cava, in this big vein, two veins come in on either side. There are your brachiocephalic veins. Coming into the brachiocephalic vein is your subclavian vein. The subclavian vein on this side has been cut. Alright. Then when you will look at the heart, this is the atrium of the heart. Okay. Right there then is the arch of aorta. Do you see this arch? Right there is the arch of aorta. Coming out of the arch of aorta, you have three main arteries. This one, the right subclavian has been, the left subclavian has been cut. So that has been cut. This is the brachiocephalic trunk. From the brachiocephalic trunk, you will have the carotid arteries coming out, right? So this carotid artery comes out right there, and then this carotid artery right there goes up. This will then become the subclavian artery. Alright, so the common carotids are then these arteries right here, and on this side right here. Alright, so one more time, the aorta, one of the arteries has been cut. Right there is your left common carotid, right common carotid, and the subclavian. Alright, so when you will look at the aorta then, so the aorta right there, you see from the arch of aorta, it then becomes the descending aorta. This descending aorta, along with the esophagus, penetrates diaphragm. Alright, On either side of the heart are your lungs. Alright, so these are the structures that you need to know in the thoracic cavity. Alright, the thoracic cavity, the thorax, is separated from the abdominal cavity by this muscle, the diaphragm. Under the diaphragm, we have the liver. All of this is the liver. In your liver, you will find, under the liver, you will find the gallbladder. The gallbladder is the structure that stores bile. Under the liver, all this structure, all this green structure that you see is the gallbladder. Okay. This structure right there on the left side is the stomach. All of this is the stomach. This right there is the greater curvature of the stomach. Attached to the greater curvature is your greater omentum. This is just like an apron sitting on all your intestines, holding all the structures in. On the left side, you will find the spleen. That's the spleen. All right. If you will lift the greater omentum, then you can notice right here that the stomach right there, so putting the greater omentum back, there is your stomach, and it then attaches to this first part of the small intestines right there. So when I lift the greater omentum right there, this structure, do you see then? So this first part of the small intestines, this C-shaped structure, is your duodenum. Under the stomach and the liver, there, do you see this pink, light pink area? All of this is your pancreas. So pancreas, Sydney, do you see this? Pink, 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 all of this are your pancreas. The bile duct from the liver and the pancreatic duct from the pancreas unite together to form the hepatopancreatic ampulla. That then enters the duodenum right there. So all the pancreatic juices and the bile will now enter the duodenum. This is where the actual digestion of the food begins. All right. Once the food has begun to be digested, it's going to then move into the next part of the small intestines, your jejunum. All of this is your jejunum. The jejunum is held together by this transparent layer, which is called the mesentery. This contains your lymphatics and those capillaries that are going to absorb all the nutrients from the ileum and the jejunum. And so look at that, people. Is it cool or is it cool that the capillaries are right next to the place from where it's going to absorb all the nutrients? All right, so once the nutrients are absorbed, then the food enters the large intestines. And from the large intestines, of course, it's going to enter the rectum and it will be removed. All right, so when you put your intestines to one side, you will notice right there are two kidneys. Do you see the kidneys? These are retroperitoneal organs, one organ, but since they are two in number, so they sit retroperitoneally behind this peritoneum. So when you will remove this layer away from it, that is